Hello everyone. I have no idea what the heck just happened, but I was recording on a different microphone from somewhere. So good on me, I just lost about 17 minutes of audio right there. However, this may actually be beneficial because I kind of got my thoughts a little bit more in an actual coherent thought process here. Today's topic is going to be a couple of things. It's going to be the most selling games, our single players dead, and the most currently played games, and we're going to see the differences between most selling, most played, the direction, and a single player dead. We're not going to necessarily go in that order, but those are going to be the four topics hit throughout the next 15 to 20 minutes. I'm probably going to shorten this one just a little bit, because like I said, I just spent 18 minutes rambling, and none of it recorded, which sucks for me. Well, not that I didn't record, it was just a different microphone, which means the quality was going to be garbage. However, hopefully this sounds pretty good. Now, this is for Steam. So, other platforms, obviously, I have no idea what the top selling games are, but let's talk about strictly PC related, because it's probably going to reflect similar into the Xbox and all that other stuff. I don't know if Steam has this in order of buying, or if this is just kind of the top, I think, 11 in here. Yeah. Wait, top 12? Yeah, top 12. So top 12, I don't know if it goes by month or if it's just generically, here's what everyone bought. But here we go. Cyberpunk, Red Dead 2, Red Dead Redemption 2, Destiny 2, Doom Eternal, Grand Theft Auto 5, PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, Dota 2, Among Us, Rainbow Six Siege, Fall Guys, Counter-Strike, and then Monster Hunter World. Now, if they do go in order of most bought / downloaded, it's very interesting to see this top 5 exist, and I'll tell you why. Cyberpunk, as it stands right now, is pure single player. Now, granted, pretty much Cyberpunk did come out right at the tail end of 2020 there and the beginning of 2021 here. So I'm not really surprised to see this as number 1 or platinum with such a big name from CD Projekt Red, and also we'll talk later about piggybacking off the good graces and excellent game of Witcher 3. It's not surprising to see a single player game of Cyberpunk's caliber being up here on the platinum. But the next 3, well, 3 of the next 4 are a very interesting style, and we'll kind of talk about it. Red Dead Redemption 2, Destiny 2, Doom Eternal, and Grand Theft Auto all have some things very in common with each other. Red Dead 2, Doom Eternal, and Grand Theft Auto have this aspect more than Destiny 2, I would argue, but I believe Destiny 2 had an aspect of it. They have a strong single-player division, but that can also incorporate multiplayer. For example, Doom Eternal, you can just play through the main mission campaigns all by itself, not an issue. Red Dead, I played it all through by myself, never played with a person. Grand Theft Auto 5, same thing. I played all by myself in the main story without other people. Destiny 2, I believe you can play by yourself, and there is a story. I played a little bit of Destiny 2, wasn't a huge fan of it, so I'm really not coming in with as much knowledge as Destiny 2 as I would like. But I believe there was like a single player / you can play through the whole game by yourself, but play with friends and other people. Was obviously definitely an aspect of that. And it's also free to play now, which is why it's probably platinum, because Destiny 2 is one of those games where it's like, I want to try it out, and I believe a lot of people try it and then stop, because it was very grind and loot heavy, and I don't know. It wasn't personally my favorite, but if you're a huge Destiny 2 fan, I could see why you'd really enjoy it. Like I said, just wasn't for me personally. The next 7 games is where it gets pretty interesting, though. PUBG, PlayerUnknown Battlegrounds, all multiplayer online. Dota 2, you're pretty much going to be fighting other people. Just may not be a traditional mode, but you can definitely be fighting other people. Among Us, playing with friends or other people. Rainbow Six Siege. We'll come back to that one. Fall Guys, multiplayer online. Counter-Strike, multiplayer online. Let's see face bots, but it gets boring. The Monster Hunter World, you can do that by... Monster Hunter Online kind of reminds me, well, Monster Hunter World kind of reminds me of a Destiny 2. I played it by myself, and I actually refunded Monster Hunter World. I could not get behind it. I wasn't a huge fan of it. It might be a really great game with friends, but by itself, I was not digging it at all. Now, come back to Rainbow Six Siege here, because my friend was actually just talking about, I believe they're trying to come out with a PvE mode. I don't know when that's going to happen or what it is or if, but if they do, that's going to be very interesting, because I am very intrigued on the fact that I think Siege, the last time I checked, is probably near a breaking point in their multiplayer situation. What I mean by that is there's only so many operators you can keep pumping out because you can only ever pick one at a time. Therefore, if you have like 50 operators one day, it's going to be like, well, cool, I can only play one at a time. And it's, your traditional offense, defense, and, even if you add new maps, the main core, I don't know. I feel like Siege will eventually hit a point where if they don't branch out into something different, they may struggle. Maybe they won't. I don't know. That's pure speculation. But I know I would play a little bit of Siege if they brought in a PvE mode. Because Terrorist Hunt used to be some of my favorite. The main story missions of Vegas weren't bad itself. Therefore, I think Siege may benefit by bringing back, actually, some of that single-player stuff rather than just purely focusing onto the multiplayer aspect. I'm going to go down to gold real quick, and then we'll talk about the actually most currently played games and where that kind of means for the future and where we can make some misconceptions on how the video game industry is, or how maybe designers and developers also look at this stuff. So in the gold category, we got Elder Scrolls Online. That's World of Warcraft style, so I'd argue single/multiplayer. It's probably a lot more fun with multiplayer. I looked this up earlier. The Halo the Master Chief Collection, that's anywhere between pure single player to multiplayer, obviously. It's literally all the Halos, I believe, or at least darn close to it. Ark Evolved, I'm not really familiar. I know it's a popular game. I know it's open world survival and stuff, but I think you raid other people and stuff. So I think it's like a single in the multiplayer situation. Borderlands 3, online co-op, so it's kind of multiplayer, but once again, it's with friends. It's kind of like a Red Dead style, so that's in the gold. When did that come out? 2 years? Just last year. It's gold now. Okay. Very positive. What's its rating? I'm curious. Borderlands 3 was 83%. Yeah, that's about what I would give it. Yeah. Borderlands 3 wasn't my most favorite Borderlands, but it wasn't terrible. Phasmophobia, purely online multiplayer, and actually, I'm really happy my friends just talked about that yesterday. Seems pretty cool. May play in the future, who knows. Dead by Daylight, I believe that's strict multiplayer. Baldur's Gate should be strict single player. Sea of Thieves can be played by yourself, but you should definitely play with other people. Warframe, free to play looter action shooter, so I'm assuming this is very on the lines of like Destiny. Crusader King, single player. What's it called? Oh my gosh, Mountain Blade 2, Banner Lord. I believe that should be just single player. And then Civ 6, you can play online. However, a lot of people probably play single player aspect on it. Once again, that was a pretty good mix of single player to multiplayer. That I'd argue, well, no, I wouldn't even argue. No, it's about probably 50-50 split as it was in the top portion here. And I'll quickly go through the silver, just naming them. I won't really get stuck up on them because I think this is where you enter much more of your single player oriented, and which is why it's in silver. Planet Zeus, single. Raft is one of those play with other people, but it's not like competitive online multiplayer. City Skylines, single player. Witcher 3. Let me just gush over Witcher 3. This game is 6 years old pretty much now, and it's now just in silver. I think for, 4, maybe even 5 years running, it was in platinum. At least for 4 years running, it was platinum. Witcher 3 is the ultimate example, and I said I wouldn't get stuck, but I'm gonna. Witcher 3 is the example of if you take a lot of time to develop a story across a trilogy, and not even maybe developing across a trilogy, but it's just one of those gems. Witcher 3, the combat, the monsters, the story, the interactions, everything just kind of came together in Witcher 3. With almost 500,000 reviews, Witcher 3 has a 97% rate. That is phenomenal. 97% at 500,000. And Witcher 3 is a very popular game. The Witcher itself, with obviously the TV show now and stuff, is getting a lot more attention. And it still maintains a 97%. That's just absolutely insane in my mind. And because of Witcher 3 status and also 97% is probably why Cyberpunk's sitting up at top sold platinum. But I would not be surprised that at the end of 2021, if Cyberpunk only hits, no, it'll probably hit platinum one more year, like only because Cyberpunk, I believe, came out in the Christmas of 2020. Obviously, some stragglers and stuff may have bought it in January and February like I did. Well, I bought it in April. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Cyberpunk hits platinum 2020, 2021. But then honestly, if it goes silver or gold in 2022, won't be surprised at all. Like just will not be surprised. And the reason why Witcher was so amazing that I went platinum so many years, it was released on May 18th, 2015, which means it had a full 7 months before 2016 kicked around, and it still kept hitting platinum. Like I said, the only reason why I think Cyberpunk will hit platinum twice, sole fact that they did it right on the Christmas cuff, I believe. So everyone bought it immediately in December, and then everyone who maybe missed out on it for Christmas then bought it in January. So they had that like weird month switch right there where in 2 to 3 months they sold a crap ton of games, but it was obviously across the span of 2 new years. But by 2022, I think Cyberpunk may fizzle out a little bit. Final Fantasy 14 Online, War Thunder, Total Warhammer, Team Fortress 2, Rust, Hades, Black Desert, Stellaris, Path of Exile, Assassin's Creed Odyssey, Eurofence Truck Simulator, Flight Simulator. Going through it, there's still a pretty good mix actually of multiplayer to single player, but I'd argue actually it's actually pretty evenly split, to be honest. Did I say Assassin's Creed Odyssey? Well, I hope I did. I'd argue it is a little more strictly single player or single player co-op in this one, but there are some multiplayer games in here. With that in mind, let's go to the actual most played games at the current moment. Yeah, I'm looking at the Steam charts here for most games current, and I'm laughing. Right now, they're calling it trending. It's the percentage increase in change. And Left 4 Dead in a game called Town Scrapers in here, 205% increase. Current players, 892. Left 4 Dead, 145% increase, 1,300 players. Yeah, I mean, I don't know if that's trending, but oh well. Oh, then Super Animal Royale. What is that? 5,000 players, up 171%. Okay, whatever. Regardless, we're not here to talk about those games. Let's talk about our fun and favorite ones here. What are the current top 10 most games being played in the last 30 days? We're right now. I think right now? Yeah, right now. Counter-Strike Global Offensive, 563,000. Dota 2, 487,000. PUBG, 269,000. Apex Legends, 180,000. Almost 181,000. Grand Theft Auto 5, 126,000. Naraka Blade Point, I looked that up. It's a Japanese-style battle royale. 83,000. Just came out literally, I forget, but it's not even 30 days old yet. Destiny 2, 80,000. It's actually had a huge spike. What the heck? How many people were playing? Did Destiny 2 do something recently? Like its peak on 8/13 was 8/13/2021. It had 1 million at its... Oh wait, that's hours played. Still though. I may have to go back and check out what the heck happened with Destiny 2. I'm actually going to click that open into a new tab real quick. Rust has 70,000, Team Fortress has 68,000, and Warframe has 61,000. Quickly going to check out Destiny 2 here and see what the heck happened. Yeah, weirdly enough, right around 823, 824, like a new patch or something must have came out, because it went from like 60,000 people up to 180 to 130 strong right now. Weird. Yeah, it's really weird. I don't know what happened regardless. But you'll notice about all of these are obviously none of these are a strong single player game. They're all pure online multiplayer. Which brings me to my final conclusions of said video. If you're a designer of video games, it may be tempting to look at how much people are playing everything else, because you go, well, single player games have a strong initial pop, but they never still keep the fan base, well, not the fan base, the player base of multiplayer games. That is obviously statistically true. However, I believe Witcher 3 is a really good example, so it's Red Dead Redemption 2, a good example of how to make games right, make a lot of money, and then you don't have to always constantly worry about Multiplayer, if you get a good multiplayer game, they probably do make you just endless amounts of cash, which I think is the allure to them. Because here's how it goes. For example, a game like PUBG, Counter-Strike, and I don't know, Rainbow Six Siege, I guess. We'll just kind of go across the board and talk about them. You buy the base game. So not only do you get all the sales from a $20 to $30 base game, now granted, that's about a third to half the price of a proper single-player game. For example, Cyberpunk, Doom, Red Dead Redemption, all $60. PUBG, $30. Rainbow Six, $20. Counter-Strike's obviously free to play. Monster Hunter World, $30. Fall Guys, $20. So the great news is they're not charging you for like a brand new $60 game. Because I think if they did that, people would catch on and be like, yeah, no, this isn't worth the initial $60 for them then to do the next thing. Which is charge you for battle passes, cosmetics, if they have loot boxes, chance loot boxes, and who knows what other weird things you could buy. Maybe levels, unlock operators. Well, Rainbow Six Siege, I think, has 2 different prices. I can't remember. I think they have like base game and then all operators unlocked base game. Didn't play enough of Monster Hunter World to find some of the smaller microtransactions. Fall Guys, I can imagine they probably have countless of skins for you to buy. Maybe battle passes, event passes, season passes, character, I don't know. I mean, who knows how many extra stuff's in Fall Guys, but I'm assuming that's where they make all their extra money. The only hopes of single players to really get a second initial wave of money is DLC, and Witcher 3 is a good example of that. With obviously Heart of Stone and also, Heart of Stone, Blood of Wine, however it's called. But regardless, its 2 DLCs was another chance for Witcher 3 to make more money, which just builds onto its legendary status of the base game itself. I don't think single player games are gonna die, but what I will argue is, if we scroll back up to the top, I think some of the more super popular ones are eventually going to adopt the strong co-op or multiplayer option, but with a great backstory. I wouldn't be surprised if one day Cyberpunk, if they don't have anything in the project tubes right now, if they're not going to eventually create a co-op or a multiplayer aspect to it. I feel like it would just be natural as it is an online shooter. And they may look to eventually replicate a Destiny 2 in style of gameplay, or something like a Monster Hunter World. Something like that. But yeah, I don't think single player games are dead. I do think some people may look down on them though, or don't see them as much as a cash cow anymore, because they do take a different level of initial readiness. I feel like multiplayer games can get away with, because multiplayer games are like, oh, we're in a beta, send us all your clips of things that are broken and we'll fix it. That doesn't really work too well for a single player game. I think single player games that try to do that get a little dunked on, in my mind, as they should. So I don't think single player games are initially that strong financially. They're probably much better in the first year than multiplayer games, but after that, multiplayer games can just, like I said, they can just farm money via their transactions and kids' credit cards from their parents. So I do think we're going to see just a barrage of different battle royales, online multiplayer games where it's the same concept over and over again, but we'll see at the end of the day. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know which single player games you've really enjoyed and hope they keep going, which ones you've played where it's co-op related, but also single player, and then obviously games you've enjoyed, but they're pure multiplayer. Thank you for watching.